Which reality would you like to live in? Are you going to be connected to the horror show, to the pain, to the suffering, to the perpetuating of fear and angst and worry and gloom and doom, or shifting into a channel of peace and love and harmony? Welcome to the Empowered Life Podcast, a space dedicated to one belief that you have the power within to create everything you seek. So if you are ready to step into a new kind of higher learning, the kind that leads to true personal freedom, hang here with me. I'm your host, Rudi Riekstins, and this is the Empowered Life. Welcome to the Empowered Life Podcast. I'm your host, Rudi Riekstins, and my episodes come out every single Thursday. But there is a practice that I do every Monday, and I have kept this practice relatively private. And it started out as an exercise for me to flex into my intuitive awareness. And I encourage that everybody do this, where you spend a little bit of time with yourself and you start connecting to some of the inner guidance that you have accessible to you. I always grew up thinking that a psychic or a medium was a person that was gifted and that they were few and far between, and that I did not have access to any of these tools. The more I have navigated my spiritual life, the more that I've realized that we all have access to this divine intelligence. And it is the people that utilize this intelligence that move themselves forward in life. I recently spoke about on an episode that we are in the age of separation. It is truly the separation age. Information is readily available to every single one of us. But the difference is the people that are taking this information and somehow utilizing it, putting it into practice. And so today, not only do I want to teach you, share with you, pique your interest and curiosity in your ability to be able to tap into the intuitiveness that already lies within you, but to also demonstrate what does it look like putting this into practice. And I want to touch on how can you use this and how does this serve you? More than anything, I want that at the end of today for you to turn around and ask yourself, where have you already been receiving this information so that you can build your awareness to it? And then also, what would be the power and the potential of taking some of this information? And so, what I'm talking about today is an exercise that I do every Monday morning. I mean, I do this every day, multiple times a day, but I have a standing meeting every Monday morning with my wife at 5 a.m., where we connect to our guides, our counsel. And this is essentially connecting through myself to my highest self, and then any beings, guides, angels that are working with and or supporting my life's work has then a floor, an open forum where they can drop information into my mind. I receive information, and in my head, I just, as if hearing the words, repeat the words out loud. And sometimes when I'm receiving it, the words are clumsy, it's clunky, it doesn't feel like it is me, it doesn't feel like it is coming from this incredible intelligence. And then when we're finished, which is usually around 40 minutes later, then I'll open my eyes, I'll ask Anderson to read it back to me, and I'm left in awe every single time. And this is a skill that I've honed over a number of years. But what I want you to do today is to start to ask yourself, where do you receive information where you're connecting to your highest self? And can you intentionally set a time every single day to start to bring that more intentionally into your day? And then when you receive this information, is there something that you could potentially do with it? I had read a book many years ago. Anderson brought me the book and she read it and she was like, this is mind blowing. And then I ended up reading the book and I was like, okay, I want to see how this works. And so I very meticulously started sitting down with pen and paper every single morning and doing free writing, connecting and then bringing in information. And in the beginning, it felt like it was me. In the beginning, it felt like it was an egregious waste of time. I would get up, I would be frustrated. I even remember from time to time throwing the book across the room, being like, this is so stupid. But it was only in hindsight that I began to see the tremendous value in the information that was coming through. And it's because I kept the papers. And so I had put them into journals. And when I would finish a journal, I would start a new one and file that on my shelf. And it was only years later that when I went back that I was able to see the things that I had written in that book that I would have no awareness to, no visibility to. There was no conceivable way I could have known this information. And yet I wrote it on a Monday morning at 5 a.m. And so I want you to ask yourself, where are you right now on this topic of receiving intuitive information, channeling, psychic ability? You can use the terminology that you want. I do not name myself a psychic. I don't predict the future. I'm not somebody who is looking for information necessarily about the future. I'm more focused about the information in the present moment. Like, what can I do better today? Where am I tripping up? I had this emotion. Can you give me additional insight? And so they tangible, tactical questions that then yield tremendous results for me in how I can shift myself faster through what it is that I'm going through. So essentially, I can connect to a higher level of awareness. When you elevate your awareness, you elevate your actions, your behaviors, then you yourself begin to elevate. And that's what I'm doing. I'm constantly, intentionally flexing the muscle of expanding my mind to more. Like, how can I connect more to the deeper knowingness of who I am and bring in truths and different thought processes and different ways of being? I will go into organizations and teach them the energy suit of unzipping the emotion that someone is in, stepping out of the emotion, taking 3 steps, turning around, and then asking themselves better questions like, why was I feeling that way? What tripped me up? What could I learn from it? What could be a better behavior that I could take from this point forward that would prevent me from recreating that same emotion? That is all a higher vantage point. That's creating separation. The exercise that I'm speaking about today is really about me having the awareness to the fact that I am a spiritual being living in a physical body. My physical body is the smallest extension of who I am, meaning my consciousness, my highest self, is in heaven. And as I place my focus down into the physical body, it comes down almost like a tiny little V to the very final point of what is seated in the awareness of me as a human. And most of us live like that. Like, we're just the thoughts, we're just the feelings, we're just the physical meat suit, but we're not. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. So when I can pause intentionally, quiet my mind as if I am shutting down a computer until I'm completely void of any emotion, any thoughts. And in that moment, I then forecast my vision up as if I'm strengthening the connection to my highest self, opening up and expanding the channel with which information can flow, life force can flow, energy can flow. And in doing that, I then open myself up to ask myself, my highest self, an awareness that has access to everything that ever was, everything that will ever be, but most importantly to me right now, everything that is. And then I will ask questions that serve my highest potential. Like, I've alluded to it a number of times, like, what would serve me this week? How could I be the most effective person? I'm speaking in a few days' time at an event. And so this morning, one of the questions that I asked my council was, how can I show up as the best version and how can I pour into this room? Like, what do they need? Meaning, can we get Rudi to step out of the ego? So this is not about performance. It's not about a standing ovation. It's not about making a sale at the end of the event. This is about impacting the people that are in that room. And so that was the question, was how can I impact this room the best that I possibly can? And the answer that came through was something that I was not thinking about. What came through for me, and I'm going to share this with you just as an example to set the foundation, was that most times when somebody is planning to speak, there is tremendous time, effort, and energy poured into the scripting, the curating, the planning. What are you going to say? What are you going to do? And the information that I received from my counsel was, rather than you planning your scripting, what you're going to say and how you're going to walk and talk and pause and music that you're going to play and activations that are going to come at the end, how about you pre plan your energetic frequency first? Spend more time curating how your energy is going to feel, how you're going to walk into the room, and what is it that you're bringing into the room, and leave the rest up to what needs to happen in the room. Now, as a speaker who stands on stage oftentimes for 7 to 8 hours at a time, that's a scary thought. to be able to just curate your energetic footprint, to walk in the room with intentionality to create impact, making sure that there is an ego coming into the room, making sure that I am 100% committed to the breakthrough of everybody that is in the space, sending my energy forward into the room, and then bringing in a level of trust that what needs to flow and what needs to come through will come through, and then just walking into the room. And so, what a beautiful reminder on a Monday morning as I prepare for my Wednesday training and keynote that I am 100% prepared and equipped if I walk into the room having curated my energetic state first. It's a very big part of what I teach, but I was caught up in the scripting and the doing moments before. Arguably, any speaker would be. One of my favorite stories, and I've shared it on the podcast, is an interview I'd heard of Michael Jackson, where somebody had asked how on earth could he be the greatest singer songwriter, arguably in the history of modern music. And he turned around and said that he doesn't write music, that God puts the music into his head. And his responsibility was simply to make the music on the album sound the same as the music in his head. Well, where did that come from? That comes through that same conduit, that same channel. I was driving on a highway and I got this nudge, like, get off the highway right now. And I had the thought, like, no, that's not my exit. Like, I need to go another 30 minutes that way. And then I got the nudge again, get off the highway. And I turned 4 lanes, swinging all the way across to the furthest two exit lanes, which would have been then 6 lanes. And as I got all the way to the very end, on the radio, I heard that there was a pileup on the other end of the radio. Like, where does that come from? I have a family member who went out one evening for drinks with a friend, and the friend was the designated driver. And then they got separated for an hour or two. And when they met back up, the designated driver was too drunk to drive. And so this family member of mine ended up having to drive them home. But they had also been drinking, but they were by no means, inebriated. They definitely probably should not have been driving. And they cautiously drove home very carefully, very slowly. And then while they were driving, they shared with me, they got this tap on the shoulder that said, turn off into this street and go around to your home. And they thought, oh no, that's silly. Like, why would I do that? And then they kept driving. It was like, now take this turn, take this turn. And they again ignored the turn. And then when they drove a little bit further, there was a DUI roadblock and they got stopped. And so, where was the nudge? Where did the nudge come from? Where did the information come from? I want you to think about you. How often in life are you caught up in something where you need to solution something? You've got to find a problem. You're wanting to create something. And you're so caught up in the moment that the information isn't available to you. You literally cannot find the solution. You pause, you leave, you go do something else, and then the information just lands. This morning, Aniston, after our Monday morning channeling session, she said to me, I feel inspired. I'm going to go to the beach and I'm just going to do a beach walk. I'm going to not listen to music. I'm not going to have meditation. I'm not going to be in conversation. I just want to walk and I want to be in my mind. Well, she came back from an hour walk on the beach, rambling. Oh my gosh, we have to do this. I just thought about this series. I've got these 6 episodes that we need to do. And I've got this new program I want to launch. And all of this was downloaded information. So when you curate enough space to be able to receive information, I promise you the information will start to flow. But you have to trust in the information. So today I said, I want to bring your awareness to the fact that you're a divine being and you have an extension of you that knows everything that ever was, ever will be, and everything that is. And you can access this information, but you have to be ready to receive the information. And then you have to be open and receptive to this information and doing it in a way where you don't feel like you're expecting everything, but you're also excited and eager for anything. And that's an interesting place to be because it's to release the expectation of what you think must come and just to allow what comes without judgment, without shame, without blame, and just take notes and then be like, okay, and then take what you receive and then let go what you don't. And so I want to give you an actual demonstration of what this looks like. And I'm going to connect right now to my counsel and I'm going to bring forward a message. And I have absolutely no idea what the message is, what's going to come through, what the intensity of the message is going to be. But before I do that, I want to share with you that I have, alongside Aniston, hosted 56 live events where we had strangers come into a room, into a space where I would quiet my mind, connect to information, talk for an hour, and then open the floor to questions and continue this information back and forth with spirit. I've had people come in wanting to connect to deceased loved ones where they received profound messages of healing. I've had people come in and ask questions of their higher selves on what they should do, where they should go, should they get married, and all of this information that began to flow, information around the meaning of life and what we're doing and why we're doing it. And every single time, the tone is different, the intensity is different, the information that comes through is different. And my job is not to judge the information that is coming through, but rather just to share what is coming through and trust that it is meant for whoever finds this. And so if you're sitting here and you're listening to this, or you're on YouTube and you're watching this, know that there is no accidents, that you're meant to be here. There's a message for you. And all I ask is that the same as me, you stay open and receptive to what is about to flow. So without further ado, let me connect to my counsel. We say finally we get to speak on this platform because you're at what? Almost 160 episodes now. And now you bring us to the forefront. It is a wonderful, wonderful time to be alive. We're excited for you. We're excited for all of you and all of what is to come. If you just look around you, the newspapers, the media, social media, there's tremendous fear, gloom, doom, and pain. You can scroll on any movie platform and you will find horror movie after horror movie, thriller after thriller, and action that is all speaking into the subliminal messaging that there is a tremendous amount to fear. And what we ask of you today is to look through the illusion of fear, because this fear has been created to show you separation from self, separation from your creative control. And what we want to remind you today is that there is tremendous beauty in this life experience. We are excited for you. We remind you we are excited for this time because it is a time of great awakening of the remembrance of who you are. And it is remembering of who you are that you will find the joy, the divinity, and the beauty as we see in you, you will see in all things. What if today you woke up and remembered that you're an extension of all creation and that your ability to create has always been within you? But this programming and fear that we speak of, this is what created the illusion, the separation, the lack of power. When we speak of the time of remembering and the time of remembrance, and it is the time to now know thyself, this is where you start to see through the fear mongering and to find the beauty and to look at all of the experience that is your life, all of the pain and the suffering, the trials, the tribulations, and to find the joy, to find the meaning. And then in finding the joy and in finding the meaning with intentionality, create anew. People will begin to remember in the coming days, months, years, who they are. People will begin to wake up to the noise and start to choose, as if changing a channel. Which reality would you like to live in? Are you going to be connected to the horror show, to the pain, to the suffering, to the perpetuating of fear and angst and worry and gloom and doom, or shifting into a channel of peace and love and harmony? And if you could wake up today remembering who it is that you are, you will be supporting not only yourself in living a more joyous, abundant life, but you will be the beginnings of showing humanity what it looks like to do the same. We really do love some of your shows of the ending of the world and people moving forward in survival. And although your world does not need to go through the same metamorphosis, it will be going through a metamorphosis all the same. You are going to be shedding the layers of what was so that you can beautifully and abundantly fly like the butterfly. The only way to do this is to remember that you chose to be here in this time, in this space, and that the place that you find yourself right now fits into your unfoldment of who you came here to be. And so, again, without judgment, without additional layers of shame, look at the blessings that is your life, that is your life experience, knowing that this is adding to the collective, not only of your awareness of your divinity, but also in the teachings of how you've navigated so many trials and tribulations and come through the other side happier, more joyful, and more abundant. You were born into an environment of free will and free choice, and it is your choice to flex your will. And we encourage you today to remember that in every moment you get to decide. You get to decide who you're going to be and what is the life that you're going to live and which reality would you like to tune into today. And if you stay in the fear for a little while longer, know lovingly that that is okay because that is what is meant for you in this moment. But when you are ready, there is a remembering that is available to you that will help bring so much understanding. If only you will quiet your mind, connect to your knowing, and draw from the abundance above. Dear one, we bring you this brief message more as a reminder that there is so much more to this world. And regardless of where you find this message today, it has been enough to stir emotion of curiosity within your soul. For you found this message, which says you're ready for the curiosity. The seed has been planted, and we encourage you lovingly to crack open the door to connect to a greater level of mind. I am posting this message unfiltered as I received it, and I challenge you today to not judge what it looks like, what it sounds like, but rather to place your awareness in and on the curiosity that it may have stirred for you today. Because we are divine beings and we are connected to this incredible benevolence of information and that it is flowing to us all the time. And what I have learned in my life experience is that the more open we are, the more receptive we are, and as they phrase, the more curious we stay, the more information we have access to. And there is a tremendous amount of information that is available to us that can support us in living the most beautiful and abundant and joyful lives. I love the analogy of changing the channel and picking which environment you want to live in. And today I choose love, peace, joy, and harmony. I hope that this message finds you in peace, love, and joy and harmony. And if it doesn't, remember that you have creative control. And at any point in time, you alone get to change the channel. I love you so much. Thank you for tuning into this episode. And I would love to hear from you. What came up for you? What was that experience like? Share it, anything, positive or negative. I am open and curious. Until next week, have an amazing weekend. I love you. Bye-bye. If this episode gave you clarity, peace, or a perspective shift, hold on to that. And here is how you lock it in. Subscribe so that you keep building momentum week after week. And if you're the kind of person that believes a good message should travel, please leave a review. Reviews aren't just ratings. They're signals that help this reach the people who are ready for it. And then share this episode with somebody you love, someone you lead, or somebody that you were rooting for. Links are in the show notes so that you can connect with me online and on Instagram. Now go out there and take one beautiful, bold, and aligned step and make it count. I'm going to catch you on the next episode of the Empowered Life Podcast.